Now then, welcome back to another episode of Agrarian Skies 2, the Weekender episode, episode number 30, another world download episode. Welcome back. Now, world download. First off, let me talk about the world download. I would like to get a load done this episode down in the basement area down here, in the underbelly, to sort out all this applied Energistics stuff so that the world download makes a bit more sense to you guys. So you'd have to wait another 10 episodes before you get a world download where it's set the way I want it. I've got it all set up around here that these are the chunk boundaries for the center 4 chunks. And I'm looking at what I've got in the center 4 chunks. As you know, we've been trying to keep things tidy. So we've got blood magic in this chunk, but because the temple was off-center to the chunk, because the temple is larger than the chunk, it's coming this way a little bit. I think I could possibly move the whole thing that way a little bit, but that'd take a lot of work, wouldn't it? That'd take a lot of work to push it over that way. And it only comes out a couple of blocks, so I probably won't change that around. Looking around, this bit is on the edge there, that stayed to its chunk, and this sort of ex nihilio section, that just stayed to its chunk. That corner section, the wood area, stayed to its chunk. Over these chunks, we've got, hopefully we've got some more potatoes. No, we haven't got any more potatoes. I'm going to take some more potatoes. We've got a bit of Britannia over here and a few farms, and then nothing over in this corner. This chunk, we've got the mob farm with its own power supply. And over in this chunk, we've got the mob farm that's got the great big vanilla mob farm above it all with some blood magic stuff going on. And all of my applied energistic sorting system for it all is all set up over here. And everything looks neat and tidy. I've got this bit in the center of the 4 chunks. I've got this bit which is underneath the enchantment table area, which I don't really need. I've got one big reactor, which isn't a very big reactor, but big enough to do the applied energistic system currently. I've got a lava system here that feeds the smeltery above, and also a lava that makes obsidian for me down here, which I don't really need in this section. And I've got a little stairwell, which I could potentially change as well. So what I was thinking of doing was ripping out the smeltery and the few bits below it to clear out these 4 chunks in the centre to start off with. That was my plan. And then I did the update, and now we are on the updated version of Agrarian Skies 2, and things like this happen. You take damage for breaking blocks now. It's like, what? I don't know why. I don't know what mod's causing that, but something has now happened in this Agrarian Skies version that breaking blocks actually causes you damage. I'm fortunate that I've got regeneration, but I pity anybody who's actually starting afresh in Agrarian Skies 2 now, because you place a block, you break a block, it kills you. I was thinking of moving the smeltery over here, and having these sort of things auto-smelting as a thing, just to get those out the way. And also, another thing that's broke in this update, see my wall of resources that I'm getting? I can access resources from here, look. Easy enough. I can access resources from this side. But my crafting frames have broken again. I can't shift right click to take anything out of them. It's broken again. So this system seems to break between updates, and I don't know what's causing that either. It normally gets fixed in the following update, which is why I kind of don't want to change it. But at the same time, everyone in the comments has been saying, use the auto packager, package it, do this, do that, do the other. And change this auto processing thing to be, well, automatic smelting as well. And I think it might be time, even though I didn't really want to do it because of storage for ingots. Now we've got such an applied energistic system that I can make almost anything. I can make big discs and so on. I can put loads of ingots and stuff in here. Ingots in here on their own, a decent amount for crafting basics and things. But I can now I can now upgrade with the applied Energistics all around this area and start upgrading things like that storage and automation with applied Energistics. And I'd like to do that because it's fun to do. I think that was cool when I first did it, but now, because it's broken twice in updates, it'll probably get fixed again, but it's broken twice in updates, I might think about changing it so that everything automatically gets sifted, sorted, smelted, and put into storage, and has accessible through the main applied Energistics system. However, I don't want to start on that today. I don't think I need to start on that today. I probably won't even start on it next week. We had a big quest lines update as well in here. I've just recently had to go through the HQM edit and redo my HQM, because the only way to load up an existing world is to delete the HQM save file, as it were, the player dat for the HQM, and then go into HQM edit and start collecting all the quests again. The more quests I do, the harder that is each time I have to do it. But there's a few new ones that I spotted on this, like there's quartz grindstone and wooden crank for hand grinding things. That's a new quest that's just come in on this update. We've still got the dimension and the sifting graft to do, but we'll get around to that. Sky Farm, I've still got these new crops to make. I think I did this, but I'll just do it again, I think, because it's an easy quest to sort out. But now there's been a few more added to this sort of region. These cookware stuff have been moved to this section, and the collecting milk has been moved to this section as well, and that leads into other things, which I'm not sure about. So Sky Farm's changed a little bit. Tinker's Toys, I think that's all the same. There's still those two materials that I'm missing from that lot. Storage Wars has changed a little bit. I think they've been added a few more bits, like Bibliocraft has been added recently. So Bibliocraft is there now. I get a purple heart clock. Ew. It's quite cool for a little oak tool rack. So that's changed a little bit. Power Grid, that's added a few new things. This wind power is some sort of RF turbine that I don't think we had in before. Basic windmill. That's pretty cool looking. Might have to go into some of these a bit later on. The assembly line has had the applied Energistics taken out of it, and I think there's a few new thermal expansion quests in there as well. I think Jaded Cat added about 100 quests to this update, which is pretty cool. Mob Hunter's just repeatable quests again, so I just did the ones that I'd already done. Mystical Blood, I think this, Sigil of the Green Grove, has been changed properly. It was the more advanced Sigil of the Green Grove before, and there's this Sigil of Magnetism, which we never made. So there's those that need completed off as well still. But I think these ones down here are new. There's a Thorncraft Blood Magic wand cap by the looks of it. That might be a staff, and this is Blood Writing, which is possibly something to do with Thorncraft as well. And I think this up here is a new one. I'm not so sure whether that's a new one or not. Maybe you'll be able to tell me in the comments. Thorncraft is still massive, and from the question I asked a few episodes ago during last week, I asked what quest line you would like me to see, and the majority, pretty much everybody who made a comment, said do Thorncraft. So all these Thorncraft quests are going to get started on next week. So I'm starting Thorncraft next week, folks, okay? Not this episode. Botanical Engineering has had a few new bits added on, like the Petal Apothecary has been added in and so on. There's a few other bits and pieces that have been added in there now. I don't know how far that goes exactly. Bees and Trees has been added in as a new one, so forestry machines. I would like to do Bees and Trees again. I enjoy doing that. I would rather just stick to doing the quest lines, though, just to complete the quest, because Bees and Trees will also be a big part of the Magic Farm 3 series, because it's, well, you farm bees and you farm trees. That's more in keeping with the Magic Farm 3 series I'll be doing. Applied Energistics now has its own little area, but still only had the Sky Quest. It didn't unlock anything new when I completed that, so there's still nothing for Applied Energistics yet. And for the hoarding, I think that's going to have something in later on, presumably because there's nothing in there at the minute. So Thorncraft is going to be next week. So to get into a position where I can do the world download and start Thaumcraft next week, I want to try and do as much cleanup downstairs of the applied Energistics system and get all that set up as best as possible, so that crafting and auto-crafting and storage and things are all taken care of fairly adequately. That's my aim for this episode. I don't know how much I'm going to get done this episode, because I've already been talking for 10 minutes and I haven't done a single thing. Thank you. Give me 2 of those. So I want to do a bit of a cleanup, and the cleanup is going to cost me life and health every time I break a block by the looks of it, which is not great, which is not the greatest in the world. I also want to do something with food, because I'm still eating these baked potatoes, and I'm not really harvesting many baked potatoes at the minute. I'm not really concerned by this little farm here. I've got a little farm here that's got plenty of potatoes and carrots being produced, but I don't get a lot from it. So I'd like to take up some of the suggestions in the comments about food types, and I've always wanted to apply Energistics food production, so I might have a go at that today as well. First up though, I'm going to have a good clean out and cut down some of the things that need cutting down and move some of the things that need moving. And because of this damage that I'm going to take from each block I break, I'm going to have to sort of keep working over to the regen, keep myself topped up with food, do all that kind of stuff, and work through it at a steady pace. I'll be back when I've cleared up. Alright, so I've had a clear out. I've had a bit of a clear up, and I've spotted something. I was just coming to make some 16k storage drives, right? And make the components so that I can quickly make some 16k crafting storage without having to go through all the crafting myself. And also the storage cells are quite enough as well. 16k I find is about the highest I need. The 64k is good, but you're still only restricted to 63 types of items. So you may as well use barrels with storage buses, to be honest, because a single item in a barrel is probably better. Plus we've got Mine Factory Reloaded, so the deep storage units are also pretty awesome. So having deep storage for items over a huge amount that get produced in huge waves and a storage bus is probably better than having a storage drive. But a 16k storage drive gives you lots and lots of each of those 36 item types. So I figured I would go with a 16k approach, okay? And I spotted Thaumic Energistics for storing Essentia. And I figure that's a good idea going into the Thaumcraft to have the ability to make these. So I'm just going to have a quick look. We need warded glass from Thaumcraft to make them. That's the first thing. Then there's these components which don't seem to be available to me. Essentia storage components. I'm guessing that I need to do some sort of ritual in Thaumcraft for that, so we'll get into that. Thaumic ingots as well and stuff like that. So we're going to be working into those soon enough, but for now I just want to make these storage cells. I've already got a recipe in the system to make quartz glass, and we've got iron and redstone coming in vast numbers that I can auto-produce. So let's break it down. We've got glowstone that's coming in auto-producing. We've got engineering processors which are coming in auto-producing now, and which make diamonds or take diamonds to make, which are also coming in from the automatic processes. Down another scale, we've got the calculation processors already in. We've got the storage components, the 1k storage components, and we've got the charged Certis quartz coming in automatically as well. So we've got a fair few processes that are already bringing us everything we need to make these components. What we don't have is the ability to auto-craft them. So I just made some more patterns up, and now I want to get into the 16k. Let's do 16k again. Come on, 16k, there we go. And start making some of these little processors. The 1k processors, we're going to make a pattern for. I want to take out these though, because the pure charged ones, or the pure ones, aren't so easy to make as these ones. And I think these work as well. Yeah, they do. So I get loads of these automatically, whereas I have to produce those pure ones in a system. Whereas those ones I'm auto getting from sieving. So I'm going to craft that up. And where's my patterns gone? I had a load of patterns in there, didn't I? Where's all the patterns gone? I literally just had a load of patterns in there. Where's all that gone? Oh, they're in my inventory now for some reason. Inventory tweaks, what are you doing to me? Okay, so we'll make that automatic. And then from there, we'll go 16k. We will also make a pattern for this one, the 4k component, which requires the 1k components. We'll make a pattern for that as well. So we know how to make those. We will also make a pattern for this one. Then once we've got the 4k, 3 4ks make a 16k. So we'll put that in there. I'm going to need to make some of those first, though. Okay. We need to make some 4Ks first. 1, 2, 3. There we go. And then this one can go in there to make the 16K. Right, so now I've got the patterns for each of those set up. And the ingredients that I'm getting are good enough. Look, I've cleared all this out, man. It cost me a lot of life. And taking all of these blocks out as well. Man, oh man, oh man. It's just tedium. It's not actually troublesome. It's just tedious. Okay, so we've still got this little auto setup over here. I've left it so that I've got one crafting unit over here and this one here. These are still temporary blocks for now, just to give me the processing power to be able to make these quickly en masse. And we can make them fairly quickly now. I should be able to auto craft what I need to make the cases. So let's try it out now. 16k. So I should be able to craft these. I want to make a couple of these, so I've got a few of these crafting units left over, so I'm going to craft, let's say 9. So everything says it's available, even 64 logic processors, because I've been making loads of those available, and it's going to make all the other component parts. It says no CPUs are available though. Aha! I figured it out. To craft that many next was going to cost me these amount of bytes, which was more than the 1k drive that I had. So it's still more than what I've got available. So I can't craft anything because that is too much. Too much to craft. So the actual amount that you want to craft is relevant to the amount of crafting CPUs that you've got, which is an important thing to remember that I completely forgot. Now, I've just grabbed a load of redstone so that this can be working again. I added another 1k storage for it. But we should be able to craft these now. If I craft them, say, 2, 3 at a time, it's using less bytes for the process, so it'll automatically find the CPU. Now I've added 3 more 1k storage crafting CPUs to it. So now I've got 4 1k crafting storage and only using 401 bytes. So I should be able to fairly quickly make these things now. It should craft everything we need, and if we go down to the crafting section, it should show us that it's already crafting these things. If you right click on them, tells you what its crafting status is, and it looks like by the time I came down the stairs it's already done those first few. Good job. I want to automate a load of the processing to make all the applied Energistics stuff right now. Look, there's 3 of them already. That's good. So I want to make those, which means I also need to make this storage unit. Have we got unit in there? Unit. Why has that come out like that? Unit. These things. We also need to make these things a pattern, so we know how to make those. So that I can call up 16k crafting units and have some of those available. It's a good idea to split them out so you've got multiple of them. And that way you can make multiple types of the 16k, well, any k of crafting units. But you're very limited with the power of the applied Energistics to doing only what you want doing only what it allows you to do. Let's do 16k. I want it to be able to auto-craft that. So it needs to craft one of those things. Okay. Let's take this off here. And let's craft one of those. Start. Thank you. And that'll be in here somewhere very soon. Where are you? There we go. There it is. Okay. So now, get that. There we go. So now, if I put that in here, I will get the next auto-crafting. This is a long-winded way of making headway into making everything you need in Applied Energistics. And every time you put a new crafting pattern in, it's very useful because you can automatically process things and quickly craft large amounts of items together. So the craftable now, I've got these 16k storage. I could now craft one. Well, start. That would probably do me straight away. Let's see. Let's do stored items. Stored and craftable. Yeah, there we go. 16k. And I can take that. And the next one's also available. Next start. It'll craft me another one up very quickly. There we go. So now I've got 2 crafting storage for 16k. And I can start placing those around and about. Let's craft another 2. Yep, I've got that one processor. Start. And it's very quick, as you can see, for the auto-crafting. So it's doing multiple bits and pieces of crafting to make these very quickly for me. Which is awesome, isn't it? How super powerful is that? That was lots of little mini crafting recipes in order to make that one thing work. And the next stage is to make all of the raw materials and things. Like I made a pulverizer last episode in the attempt to get on with making an interface that will automatically craft some of these things that I need pulverizing, which means that I need to do a little loop around this place. I have another little interface actually. I could possibly make 2 interfaces out of this. Let's take those and make them into those kind of interfaces. That's quite cool. They will sit on the sides of the pulverizer, and one side will also have power. Have I got any ducts? I've got some power ducts. Not a great amount, but I've got some leadstone power ducts. That's good. And then the crafting patterns that I need to make will be things like the Fluix crystal dust. Fluix dust, this stuff. Right, I've got the ability to craft the seeds from dust, but I haven't got these flux crystals being made yet. So I've got to work on things like that. This is a crafting pattern, processing pattern. That to that. There we go. So if I put one of these in a pulverizer, I will get Fluix dust. So there we go. Now I've got a pattern for that to put into one of the interfaces. The quartz. Yeah, that's it. Quartz dust. If I take the quartz dust and grind a little bit down, let's take it over to the pulverizer and pulverizer one of these down. Let's put it in there. There we go. So I've got one of those. There we go. So a pulverizer recipe for that works. I don't really need a recipe for making this because I've got so much of it already coming through the sifting process. I would generally do that because then nether quartz would get automatically crushed down in a pulverizer to make that happen. But all I need to do is set this up like that as a processing pattern, and that'll tell the pulverizer that's something that happens and what I want it to do. Now downstairs I've set myself up with some more power taps on this big reactor. This is not an ideal final solution. I'm not really that keen on keeping this big reactor where it is. I've got plans for other stuff later on, but for right now this is going to do me. I just need to get a little pulverizer set up, a little thermal expansion setup going on that's going to give me all of these little bits and pieces that I need doing. We're going to have an interface on either side, one on that side, one on that side. They're going to have an input and output. So input from that side and output on that side. Anything it produces is going to output on that side. Because this is an interface, I can put these patterns in, so it'll automatically register that when it needs these things, it will make these things for me. And then we connect them up, and I should really put these 4K crafting somewhere as well. Another temporary slot for 4K crafting. Maybe I'll just put it next to here in a bit. So we've got a good amount of crafting memory for when we're crafting things up. I really wanted to do this a lot better laid out, but I'm finding that with the time limit that I've got to produce an episode for today, that we need to do it a little bit more piecemeal, bit by bit. Oh wow! I also need to make it so that it can make glass like that. Okay, let's try that again, because it looks like I've run out of cables. Okay, so we want it to be able to make flux cable, that stuff. So we want it to have that crafting recipe. We don't want those ones in though. Wait, we do want those ones in, just not all of them like that. We want those ones in like that. There we go. And I can make the flux crystals like this to make those, and that's a crafting recipe. Yeah, okay. And then we want some wool. I've got some wool over in my mob farm. I'll quickly go and grab that. And this is quite a lot of work goes into these things. So I get some wool there. In fact, let's grab a couple of stacks and throw a couple of stacks in, because when I request it, I want to have the materials available. I'm going to have it so that the mob farm feeds into well, a storage bus at least, so we can store all of the items and have them available to the AE system, so that I can auto-craft these things when I want to. So now I've got these two patterns. Yes, we're going to need another interface. Let's have another quick interface. Boom. Yeah, thank you. And I'm going to put another interface on this one crafting molecular assembler. You can attach these interfaces to all sides of molecular assemblers. So I'm going to attach another one to the bottom here, and that way that will interact with it this way round. And I'm going to put these two new patterns in there for making the cables, so it can now make cables for me. And yeah, I keep saying there's a lot of this that happens in Applied Energistics 2 now. You have to go through these processes quite often. So if I now want some cable, I can ask it to craft me, well, let's craft me 60 next. It's missing wool, it's missing that, okay. Let me throw that wool in, throw that in. Throw that wool in, that wool in, and go for the cable again. Craft me 60 next. It's missing the quartz fiber. Okay, so quartz fiber is something else that I need it to do. Quartz fiber is simple enough to make. I've made tons of it. It's just that. So I'll make that as a crafting recipe as well, and put that down here. And that again will add into the I can make this stuff, and it will just make it when it needs it. Let's put that in on this one as well then. Okay, so it knows how to make that now. All very, very complicated, but very, very powerful if you understand it. And the basics of it are fairly simple. Let's go with cable again. Now it knows how to make that, we can try making the 60 again. Yeah, you see, now it knows how to craft these things, to be able to craft those things, to be able to craft those things. And it's got these. I need to give it a process to be able to make these, which is another little setup that I've got in mind to make flux crystals. And yeah, let's just get that to start, and it will start making cables for me. Awesome. Okay, we don't need too many. Let's just take the first dozen out. I don't think I need that many. Let's take a few more, just because they're made already. And leave that to carry on crafting. We should find that this crafting cell is telling us, when we right-click it, what it's doing. Yeah, there we go. Look, it's now flashing through, telling us what's going on in the crafting status, which is pretty cool. I like the constant updating. I think the 16K that we've just made should be able to craft these things a lot faster. And, oh man, every single slab... Oh, God. Yeah, thank you. Let's get some regen on. Oh my days. Every single slab. Everything. You break something, you pay for it in this now. That's crazy. I don't get it, to be honest. I don't understand the reasoning behind adding that into the pack. Other than just making it an annoying pack to play. That's the trouble. It was a good pack to play, and now it feels like you're giving people an annoying challenge to beat that's not really a good challenge at all. One more there. There we go. And that goes there. Okay. I wonder if it does that for the cobblestone gen. I mean, man, that's like integral part of playing a sky block. And wait, I can do it that way. That's good. And you're now making it so that it hurts people when they break cobblestone. Yeah, that's not a good thing. That one's now off. Okay, so I need more channels for that. I could send a bigger cable round there, or I could go like this. Take some more damage. Thank you. And put there, and then detach that. Now that should give me more channels going this way. Yes, that's working now. Okay, so so if you see what I did, I basically took off these couple of channels here. So this is now reading 32 channels from this side going that way, goes into that little setup there. And it only actually needs 2, so that's good. And this has got channels going this way, which goes into all this, which is good. And it's also got channels going this way, which goes into the crafting side of things. That's all stuff that we've got to figure out slowly but surely over the course of time. But now, that should be able to create these 2 ingredients as we need them. In the same way as the other AutoCrafting does things for us as we need them. You just keep building up a little repertoire of what you can craft and what you want to craft. Well, that's all we got time for this episode. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget there'll be the world download in the description below. I may have had time to play around with a little bit more before the world download comes out. So thank you for watching this week. Thank you for leaving those likes and those comments. I'll see you next week for some more Agrarian Skies